All right, here we go.
Back Home Media.
All right, you pieces of shit. Go ahead and get all your jokes away about my appearance.
What's up, Holmes?
Like a modest miho.
I don't have any. I don't have any money.
Look, this is the way God intended me to look.
Modest
Do you-
miho.
Modest miho.
All right,
Can you even
Seymour.
see? Where's your glasses?
No, I have contacts in, bro. I can see. I'm 20/20. So let me tell you real quick. We're gonna get into the show here in a second. I went to an eye doctor like before we moved to Phoenix in 2018. If I'm sure all of you have been to the eye doctor where they put that solution in your eyes to dilate your eyes and they shine that bright light in your eyes. For me, it seems like 30 minutes, and it's honestly, if Stephanie wants to find out if I've ever fucked around on her, just get somebody to shine a light in my eye. I'll tell you anything. But anyway, I've avoided going to the doctor because that lady told me that my diabetes had ruined my eyes and like my left one was gonna I'm going blind. And then she did that thing for like literally 30 minutes. And so I'm like afraid of going. And then so now they have a new technology where they just have a Nikon camera and you just put your eye up to the lens and takes 2 seconds, does the same thing. Found out today my eyes are not fucked up from diabetes. They're healthy. They're fine. They're actually stronger than my last prescription. And I'm wearing contacts, and I'm probably the biggest pussiest getting us motherfucker on this show. Welcome to the show. How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Doing
Very
right.
good.
Doing well.
How you top that?
Yeah. What the fuck? Isn't it crazy how
Good
doctors
stuff
you
right
go to
there.
2 different doctors and they'll tell you like 2 different things?
Well, okay, really though. The way the lady that told me she was using the old technology where she was using her own eyeball on a light. And like, dude, I'm telling you, like I had to hold my eyes open, just watering, like
I would have left.
torture. But this lady took a picture and she's like, you're fine. That lady's crazy. She's obviously just trying to steal your wife. Jared Peterson, how you doing in Anadarko? How cold is it out there?
It's getting kind of cold out there. I think it's like gonna dip down in the 30s tonight, so it's not too bad though. You couldn't ask for a more fair winter so far. So
Nice, man. Jeff Kinney, how is the desert got cold yet? You look like John Cena right now. I hate it.
Nah, dude,
What does John Cena even look like?
not me.
Can't
No,
see it.
when you had your hat back, like your head back, and you looked pissed off and racist. Has it gotten cold in Arizona, wherever you live?
Yeah, somewhat. I think it got down in like the low 50s one time, but like the week of Christmas, we were in the 60s. Hell, we had like 2 weeks ago, we had a 70-something degree day. So it's dry as fuck, dude, out here. We haven't had any like significant rain since like last winter. So it's fucking sucks. Can't stand it.
How close are you to that lake in California? Is it Ghost Lake? That's
Pacific Ocean?
No, there's a lake in California that's been dry for years, and it just with all
Yes,
the
in Florida.
The big salty lake. I'm sorry, that fucking killed me.
it's so close to you.
I don't know, dude. I'm sure I've heard of it. It's not ringing a bell.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the show. We'll be right back after this.
Segment 1, Gun Control in America. What is home defense? Would you rather be judged by 12 or carried by 6?
We're going to my buddy Fat Jesus, a.k.a. Fat Stradamus, who I know is a closeted Kamala Queef and a former gun owner. So what are your thoughts on like the gun argument's a big one. It happens every time there's a shooting where there's people, multiple people killed. Let's start with like concealed carry. North Carolina, what's your sort of history like legally with concealed carry? Like, did you see any difference when they changed that and stuff?
No. It's always been the same. I mean, they actually recently made gun laws, which I was surprised. They made the gun laws a little bit more relaxed in North Carolina. It used to be where if I wanted to buy a pistol, I would have to go down to the sheriff's department, fill out the background paperwork, then they would run all that paperwork, then it'd take a little while, then you would get a pistol permit, and you're able to buy one pistol or two pistols with that permit. And you take that permit to the gun shop, they then have to run their own background check on you and use that pistol permit. Then you could purchase that pistol and leave with the pistol. Now, if I wanted to, let's just say hypothetically the gun shop that's close to my house is open right now, I could probably have a pistol by the end of this show. You know what I mean? Like, not really, but in hypothetically, hyperbole, I could have one basically by the end of the show. Realistically, I could have one within 3 hours. The gun shop is 15 minutes from my house. I go in, pick out whatever gun it is I want. I pay them. They run the background check. That takes about an hour or so, depending on the place and how busy they are. Sometimes it's quicker than that. And then I leave with the pistol. So that's how it is now. And then the bypass to how it used to be when you couldn't just go buy one like you can now was if I had the concealed carry, which I did. I went and got my concealed carry permit because I wanted to be, if I was going to own a gun, one, I've only known what some people have taught me at that time and what I kind of knew, what picked up with one. I wanted to have somebody who's a professional with this shit show me what I need to know. So I went and took that class. Great class. Taught me all the laws and everything I need to know about self-defense and everything that I can do in that situation. And I will give it to them. They highly, highly stress that you do not pick that gun up and point it at anything you do not intend to kill. And they go very much in depth on what that means. So like, it's not like what all these people make it out to be like. It's just so fucking easy and these people don't care. People who own guns give a shit. People who own, they do care. There's a lot of shitty people in the world, but the bypass used to be if I had that concealed carry permit, I could go buy 5 pistols a year without having to have the sheriff's approval. So then I just had that, and I can conceal carry.
Damn, all I have to do is go to a damn gun show. Like we can literally just go to a gun show and buy a fucking gun right now. Like if there was a gun show
nowadays
down the street, I could walk out of there with guns.
Yeah, I'm talking about a pistol. Now,
Yeah.
well, like a rifle, I could get a rifle anytime. I bought a rifle while I was at work a few years ago. I was like, I'm going to go hunting this weekend. I don't have a 308. Let me go buy a 308. I literally went on my lunch break across the street, paid them $250 for a little cheapy little 308. Not even a cheap, it was a decent little Mossberg 308. They had it on sale. Anyway, 308 Mossberg, and then I had a gun before I left work that day. I had a rifle ready to go hunting in 3 days. So like rifles have always been easy. Pistols have been harder to get.
I will say this, like I am from I'm pro Second Amendment. I think, unless you can melt them all really quick, you might want to get one and learn how to use it. Just like I said in the
I'm getting another one.
When somebody comes into your house, like, do you want to be judged by 12 in a court or carried by 6 of your best friends? Like, you have to make that decision if somebody breaches your comfort zone. But we can go back to Fat Jesus if he wants to. I have 3 friends that are very pro-gun, but they have unarmed themselves over the last 3 years. And it's because of a statistic that Norm told me. Gun violence is one of the leading killers of human beings, but what the media tends to leave out is the majority of those are self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The 3 friends that I have that unarmed themselves had nothing to do with politics. They were actually scared of having the gun around because of the thoughts they were having. Brandon, if you want, there's something, because guns are dangerous if the person that's holding it is thinking about using it on themselves. But go ahead.
Am I one of those 3?
Yeah, I think so. You told me.
I was about to say, yeah. I'm more than happy to speak on it, because I'm more than happy to talk about it, because I feel like if you don't, you're probably leaving somebody. There's a chance somebody could listen to this, and if I didn't say it and let it go by, that person could need to hear it. So the point I realized I didn't need to have a gun was almost too late. It was almost too late. I had already spoken out loud that I didn't want to live. I had already gone through all the thoughts, all the plans, everything. I was ready to do it. I had a really bad day one day. I came home, grabbed my pistol, stood in the living room at the dining room right here, and looked straight in the mirror, looked at myself in the mirror with the pistol to my head, loaded, ready to go. And I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't do it. I felt selfish as fuck in that moment. I just felt like my life isn't about me anyway. If I don't care if I live or die, what does it matter to me if I live, if it means something to somebody else, right? And especially those people to me were my kids. And my thoughts when I was standing there with the gun to my head was like, I grew up without a dad. I'm breaking that cycle with my kids. I could start that cycle again by taking myself out of this situation. You know what I mean? And what kind of fucked up shit am I going to leave them with? And what kind of they're going to have to leave the house. There's going to be all kind. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be able to live here. So there's a lot of things. And I swear to God, man, I had shit days, man. I've had really, really fucking shitty days since then. You know, but I'm glad I got rid of my guns. I'm glad I didn't have them. I'm in a way better place now. And I do kind of want another one just to have. And I've already spoke to my wife about it, and she agrees to, just to have one around the house for protection. That's literally it. I don't want to walk around with it. I don't even want to tell people I have it. I don't want to go customize it and all that stuff. I just want it. I want to keep it in good condition. I'll take it to the range a couple times a year, make sure it's sighted in, make sure it works and all that good stuff, and just leave it fucking be. I just want to have one here. So I am pro gun still. But the bigger issue is what you're talking about. It is the mental health thing. If you're like me and you don't have the willpower to stop yourself, or you don't have enough going on in your life to keep you here, because to be honest, if I didn't have a wife and kids, I wouldn't be here right now. I would have already taken myself out. I am so happy I didn't, because there's been so many great things that have happened since then that I could not replace any of those things with anything. If you take me out of any of those moments, it's not the same moment for my children. You know what I mean? And I had a scare like that almost earlier this year when I had the motorcycle crash. You know what I mean? My kids were terrified they were going to lose their dad. So that was another just constant reminder. Hey, Brandon, it doesn't matter how shitty you are. You're here for them. Let's make sure their life is good. Yeah. So that's what I try and do. But, and again, if you hear this shit and you're like, fuck, I need to talk to somebody, reach out to me. Hashtag Fat Jesus, you'll find me. Hashtag the Bearded Goods, you'll probably find me even better. But you can reach out to me through there. You reach out to me through this podcast. You can find me if you need to talk. I'm here to listen. I'll always listen. I never get to that point. I called the suicide hotline. I'll tell you right now, if you're at that point and you feel like you need to do it, but they're fucking it's fucking garbage. It's a joke, man. When I called it, they were like, yeah, just call a psychiatrist. I was like, really? That's what you guys are here for? You're here to tell me to find help?
I think they're volunteers. I mean, you're lucky they
got people.
Lay down a tarp first. Real quick, I wanted to cover that angle of it because, I think that's an important. If the media wants to really trash guns, which is fine, I'll admit guns are scary. You have to throw in the factoid that a lot of those are self-inflicted gunshot wounds, which is even darker than a school shooting, in my opinion. When you have somebody shooting up their own dome. Out of the Kamala Queefs that we have, Kent and Jared, raise your hand. Are either of you anti-gun in any way? I know, I don't think either of you're both in the Midwest, or either of you kind of where do you start to have issues with guns? We'll go to Jared first, because you had mentioned, I think last week, that you think that most Americans think that there should be some kind of you were saying basically there should be some kind of regulation.
So I've talked to I have friends that own guns. I have a lot of friends that own guns. A lot of fucking rednecks around here. lot of indigenous people that are kind of own guns that I know, and a lot of them like would agree, like, yeah, it probably shouldn't be so fucking easy to get a gun. I am not against guns. I am for guns. Guns are cool. You know, they're cool to shoot. I think they're important as as Americans to protect ourselves, because there's a lot of crazy fucking as you know, and we keep getting more and more and more people. You know, the population keeps expanding, and that, on top of that, we're gonna have more and more unwell people, or people that are willing to come into your house to take what you have for themselves. And having kids, I think it's important to have a gun. So I would rather have one and not need it than not have one and need it. So I'm definitely for guns. I'm pro Second Amendment. I just think that there needs to be a little bit more regulation. And I'm too stupid to say what that regulation would be. I don't know. I don't know the full process of buying an AR-15. I don't know that. I have no clue. So my thing is like, I think there should be smarter people to handle that, and maybe talk to the gun owners that agree that there should be some more restrictions, as far as like being so easy to get your hands on one of these motherfuckers. And now apparently you can just 3D print them, because look at what happened with Luigi Mangione. There was a 3D printed gun. So I mean, it's becoming even more easy for people to get their hands on firearms to hurt people. But like I said, I'm not against guns. I don't want to take anybody's guns away. In fact, every time like the Republicans come out like they're trying to take our guns, I'm like, no, I think a lot of Democrats would tell you that they're pro Second Amendment.
Yeah. We have two household Trump fags. Jeff Kenny, are you one of those people that does, because like I think it was a few weeks ago in group chat you had mentioned that if there was ever like a revolution, that obviously the Republicans would win because they're armed, but I think you're learning that even Kamala queefs are kind of are locked and loaded. What are your thoughts on like the current state of quote unquote gun control? Do you feel like Second Amendment people are in any kind of danger at all?
I think a lot of it's hot air sometimes. Like, every time, and it's kind of sad that it gets politicized only when there's a tragedy, and I don't like when politicians use that to drive an agenda. And at the end of the day, man, America, dude, that's part of our tradition is guns, whether we like it or not. And it's just never going to happen. You're never going to walk into a dude in Texas, in Arlington, Texas, and say, yeah, let me have your 9, let me have your AR. He'll say, no, here's a bullet for you though. It's just, that's the way people operate. And I think those on the extreme left, and dude, I've come to realize, yeah, there's a lot of left leaning people that have guns. Like I said, it's part of our American tradition. And I just think it's a lot of hot air. It gets brought up like it is right now. Oh, we need to, and then like it's just going to go away like it always does. It's just something that a lot of politicians use this to make their fucking career. And what's interesting is you have some of these people on the extreme left where it's like, describe a gun. Have you ever shot a gun? Have you ever been with someone who shot a gun? Like, did you grow up around guns? Would you talk to a gun owner? And a lot of them are just ignorant of the situation. And that's pretty much all I think about it.
Well, one thing you have to be careful of is extreme left. Like any extreme is weird. Like you can't, in my opinion, I can't go around thinking that everybody who's a progressive thinker is like one of these doofuses that's like on one of these YouTube videos getting schooled by somebody who's just, it's nothing to do with political. It's just they're getting schooled by somebody who's just smarter than them. But at the end of the day, if it's dangerous to think that all the political left is that obtuse. It's the same line of thinking that everybody that voted for Trump was in DC on the 6th. It's not true. I don't know any Trump supporters that went to DC on the 6th. Not at all. We'll end this whole thing with Rowd, then we'll go to our second segment. Rowdy Radloff. Do you feel something like obviously self-inflicted gunshot wounds? That's something that that's only up between the gunman and the victim. That's kind of a very scary situation, in my opinion. Do you think stuff like school shootings, public violence is something that we can legislate away?
No, no, because that's I think when we think about this all the time, and this is something nobody said. You think about controlling guns and to prevent these mass killings, these school shootings. It's going to fix it. They'll find another way. if there's not a gun, they'll use a hatchet, they'll use a bomb, they'll fucking use a car. Though if somebody wants to kill people, if someone is not mentally well and they want to cause destruction and death and then something terrible, tragedy like that, they're going to find a way. And you can take the guns away. It doesn't matter, you know. And that's the other thing is I think when all these people think about, you know, they fight over the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is you can't take our guns away, and you know it's to defend ourselves and defend this school. And you know the Second Amendment was made to prevent tyranny. You know, it's not. It was to defend ourselves. It's to defend our own government in case our government does some crazy shit. And we got to stand up again to fucking defend ourselves. That's why you have the right to fucking have a gun in your house in case shit gets fucking squirrely and you got to fucking fight back against the people that are supposed to be fucking keeping us safe. That's what the whole thing's built on. And I think we lose sight of that. But, you know, everybody thinks, you know, the government can never turn against us again. I would fucking check the facts on that again because it definitely could happen.
Look at 4 years ago.
So that,
you know, I mean,
yeah,
they locked us all in our houses.
Real weird. Yeah, and it could happen again very quickly. We see how slippery the slope gets when fucking shit hits the fan. These fucking UAVs or fucking UAPs or whatever the fuck, these sketchy boxes, whatever the fuck you call them, scuzzy boxes. Fucking, you know, what the fuck, dude? It's you know, you got pandemonium and panic. That's when fucking we may have to defend ourselves against fucking an alien race for all we know.
I think this show is a good start for what this country needs. Like, I think it's very important that you know, Jared truly in his heart thinks that Jeff Kinney's mentally retarded. But at the end of the day, I know that if we all lived in a small town, as much as Jared disagrees with what Jared thinks, and I mean, as much as what Jared disagrees with what Jeff thinks, and as much as he, you know, points out that Jeff's obviously racist a little bit, at the end of the day, I think if somebody came to our town and started fucking with Jeff, I think at the end of the day, what I'm learning is that America, we've been told that we are very divided and all this shit, but I think if any of these weird drones land or any kind of other countries show up and try to take this country by force, I think they're going to be fought by a bunch of rednecks and a bunch of dudes with blue hair that maybe blow their friends on the weekend. We all have guns, baby. We'll be right back after this.
Segment 2, election fraud. Seems like the most unlikely thing possible until you and your buddies are ugly crying at a losing rally.
Here's the deal. Everybody says election fraud is fake when their guy won.
Yep.
As soon as your guy loses, your person loses, you're just like, I think something's a little fucked up. But I think at the end of the day, I don't even want to talk about any actual election. I want to go around the room. We went to Raud last time, so we'll go to him first. Raud, like, just the idea, again, like, I don't even want to talk about any of the elections, just the idea of a voting machine. Do you trust that, knowing that, like, it's made by people and it could be perverted by anybody that is involved? How much do you trust, like, an actual machine that counts something as important as an American vote?
Do you know you're asking that question too? Of course I don't fucking trust a fucking machine to fucking be honest. Like, election fraud,
UCH,
like,
baby.
Absolutely. Like, you know, there's always going to be election fraud, you know, whether some way or another, whether somebody's sneaking a fucking ballot in. But the question is how much of it goes on, and does it actually have an effect, or does it balance? Does it balance itself out? There's always, you know, I don't trust any. I mean, I heard reports of, like, they had to set up these machines like 48 hours before and have them connected to the internet. It's like, what? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. With the fucking hacking and the fucking Russians and the Chinese and shit, I fucking no way. And even in our own country, people fucking, you know, I mean, the process is what it is, and fucking, you know, before this election, I think I would have said that it's all bullshit. It's not possible. But now after this election, I feel like maybe it is fucking, you know, it is real. Maybe it isn't rigged. Maybe they're not fucking, the scales aren't tilted. Maybe, you know, or maybe it is. I don't know. You know, it's fucking crazy.
This is beautiful. I just came to the realization that the hit podcast, The Garage Conspiracy Hour, is hosted by two guys that are kind of on a yin and a yang politically. I mean, you guys definitely 69ing when it comes to politics.
Absolutely.
Cody, we'll go
to Bigfoot. You were talking about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's talking dicks.
Thomas. Again, nothing specific. Trump, come on, just elections. A system where we're all going to vote, and then we're all just going to like the honor system of, yep, that's who voted for who. Where are you at as far as your faith in that?
We talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I missed who you're talking to. Oh, faith in it? Oh, absolutely not. My brother Rod has already explained to you that they don't give. I told you last week, they don't give a shit about you. Why do you think they're going to care who you actually vote for? They don't give a fuck. They already know. They already know who's going to win it. Yeah, you do go vote. Yes, they do count it. Yeah, because they have to have something to show across the screen. But guess what? It's all digital. How did Elon Musk know that Trump won 4 hours before the election even was fucking called, right? Like, how did he know? Of course, obviously, you can kind of look at it and know, but he had his hand in it, man. There's something there. Who knows? And there's also, how is it that like an hour or two into the election cycle, the last election, we had, Republican side coming out going, oh, they're already saying that they're doing something down in, I can't remember what fucking county, but whatever, they were already trying to say, like, they were already setting it up. It's just like they were starting that narrative. And then now you got the Democrats doing the same fucking shit, doing it the other way. So it's just like, no, there's no faith in the election cycle or election system anymore. Even, you could take it all the way back to maybe the first three were probably okay. They started to figure out how, okay, we got this election thing figured out. I think I know how we can rig it next time. So you win, but we can make it look like you win by a narrow margin so that, like, it's really close, but you'll win. So I think they figured that shit out a long ass fucking time ago. And the only way that happens, and Rowd, I'm glad you brought this up, because, like, yeah, you're going to have it on both sides. So at what point does the discrepancies kind of balance each other out, and then, like, what's left kind of do what it's going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where does that go to? But as far as faith in the voting system, no. And I think that's what's going to be a big issue probably the next 4 years, the next election cycle. I think we're going to have a big push. You'll see a big push. Here's a faster dumbass. You'll see a big push on how elections are fraud. You can't trust elections and all this other stuff that's going to happen. I don't have a lot of high hopes for what the next 4 years are going to look like, but I hope I'm way wrong, because I like being wrong, because that's where I learned. But as far as faith in elections go, no. I don't really have a lot of faith in election. Voting machines, it's easy to corrupt. Like Rowd said, they had to connect to the internet 48 hours beforehand. Why? Because they had to upload some source code that's going to change every third vote from Democrat to Republican, or from Republican to Democrat.
Exactly.
Why? And certain key counties that they know in each these states that are small, that are going to get them more electoral votes. Yeah, it's just, and the gerrymandering that goes on with every state, especially in my state, North Carolina, the gerrymandering is crazy. And with all that's going on, but yeah, no, I have no faith in elections. We have our own fucking election going on here in North Carolina. I can't remember which one it was. I think it's like a Senate seat that we have between some dude and some chick. Some dude the Republican, some chick's the Democrat. She's won by 60,000 votes like 3 times on the count, but he keeps fighting it, and it's just.
We're gonna go to Jeff Kinney. When Biden won, we were all there. I was on a live stream with Kent, and we all went to bed thinking that Trump kind of had it in the bag. And then, all these mail-in votes and shit, we all saw it, like the 70 million votes or whatever. So you saw that happen. I'm not even going to ask you if you thought that was fake. I'm pretty sure you got a tattoo of it on your dick. Let me ask you this. Do you that same energy of this is bullshit, there's no way that's real? You just got Donnie Boy elected a second time, and the guy's I'm not a Donald Trump hater, but he's a fucking calamity for sure, like publicly. Where do you stand on, do you feel like your supreme being won this fair and square? And if so, then you kind of have to shut the fuck up about Biden's victory. Go ahead, Jeff Kinney.
Well, to be honest, dude, I think Joe Biden won that fucking election. That's the one thing that I couldn't fucking stand about, I hate to say it, my side, was this whole fucking thing about, and I hate it when Trump says that I won the election. No, you didn't, dude. You fucking lost the election. I'll say he ran a terrible fucking campaign in 2020. That's why I tell everybody, he's like, quit fucking blaming, fucking bullshit. Now, do nefarious things happen? Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. Like Brandon was saying, they probably figured this shit out, during fucking Andrew Jackson, how to rig this shit, right? And, I'm not blind to that shit. So do bad things happen? I don't think it's going to actually ever change until we go to a paper ballot system like we used to have, and you have more moderation. I mean, the fact these computers, these systems can be completely fucked with, or the fact that you could just, I watched on a documentary, dude, you can order fucking ballots, right? You can bring ballots to your home, a stack of ballots, put them in a fucking briefcase and slide them underneath a fucking tabulator, dude. It's not that hard. People do it all the fucking time in all kinds of elections. And this only hurts our republic, dude. The fact that we can't feel like we have fair and clean elections anymore. And each side is so guilty of it, dude. When they, like you said, when they win, oh yeah, it's fair. No, we want it fair and square. But when we lose, oh no, it's bullshit. It's a travesty. It's fucking dude. So yeah, I would hope Donald Trump won fair and square, but I don't fucking know. And I hate it when he says that he won in 2020. No, dude, you lost. You ran a bad campaign and you were a fucking idiot that year. So yeah. Pretty much.
Round this off, we'll finish it up and then go to our next segment. Jared Peterson, do you, when you go to vote, because I know you vote, when you go to vote, like, do you feel like it matters in the sense, do you feel like nobody's gonna like fuck with it, like it's gonna really get all the way to DC?
Okay, so I think it's, first of all, I want to make a point. I think it's really interesting that Jeff said ever since Andrew Jackson, it's weird that he just chose Andrew Jackson off the top of his head. Anyway, so no, I don't trust the system just because, I mean, you don't want to talk specifics here, but I mean, look at George W. and Al Gore, man. Like how much calamity was around that. Like, and Jeff said something about paper ballots, but wasn't that whole thing centered around paper ballots and hanging chads and all that good shit? I don't know, man. Like it's sometimes you gotta kind of question it because like I'm ever since George Bush and Al Gore, I'm just like, dude, I don't fucking know, man. Like I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're up to. And didn't they like prove that these electronic ones can be hacked pretty fucking easily? Like they were saying like there's no like good firewall that they have for them, and that's pretty concerning. I don't know. Again, I'm too stupid to know the correct answer to all this, or sometimes I've heard it bandied about. It's like maybe we should have a whole internet thing, but I'm like, how safe is that? With Russian and Chinese people hacking our shit, like how safe is the internet anymore to use as a voting system? So no, I don't think on a whole, especially living in a red state like I live in, like I feel like I'm just kind of throwing my vote away every fucking time. Like I really do. Not one county in Oklahoma was blue. Not one. When we usually have, kind of two or three. But like sometimes, the electoral college is kind of overwhelming in a red state. So I don't know. Like local stuff, I think my voice counts, sure. And I think, they might be looking at my vote. But then again, are those every time I put my ballot in it and it scans it, is it counting it? Do we for sure know that it's counting it? Where's the proof behind that? I'd like to see some numbers on those. Are people's ballots getting skipped over because it's missing them? Because like I know at work, you go to a fucking scanner or you go to a printer, it fucks up all the fucking time. And I know there's certain securities that they have with voting machines and everything, but I don't think it's wholly reliable just because they are machines, and I don't think humans are wholly reliable either. So again, it's just like, man, it could be easily manipulated, and we could just be living in a farce where they're pretending that we have freedoms that we think we have. But until the American people kind of like wake up and make a huge change, it's just going to keep being this way.
Yeah, I think that it's anytime you have anything that involves human beings, like it's just automatically, I'm like, it could be perverted. It could be perverted. Anybody that's ever worked anywhere knows somebody at work that does shit that's not cool. You're like, yikes, bro, you just do that shit? It's like, yeah, dude, all the fucking time. I don't care. Everybody that's listening on the podcast, you're listening to episode 4, titled, I gotta wait for it to come back up, 12 Angry Men Walk into a Border Crisis, or whatever it's called. But at the top of the screen, there's something that a lot of my Christian friends say that used to bother me a lot. That phrase, God is good all the time. And I'm like, well, what about when like kids get killed and shit? But even then, like they like my most faithful of friends can spin that into something where I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's not like the worst thing ever. But I've come to realize, like, as somebody who's never voted, I really don't. My life really doesn't super change whether who's in the White House. I've come to realize it kind of does, but not a whole lot. But as somebody who is truly a centrist and just sits in the middle and watches, I do think that America is great all of the time if you consider waking up anywhere else on this godforsaken spinning rock. We'll be right back after this.
Segment 3, American Public Education. From pledging allegiance to pledging ignorance. Are we smart or are we dumb?
We're going to go to Jared Peterson. I know that he has, there's a lot of things going on in the Oklahoma education system. You know, they're trying to bring God into everything. And that's just really one thing. You have, like, also people consider whitewashing of education. You also have us learning stuff that's just not really factual. We'll go to Jared Peterson. Go ahead and just spin a yarn on the American education system real quick.
The American education system is fucked, especially here in Oklahoma. I think they teach us bits and pieces of what they want us to know. And it really kind of sucks. Like, you can even take like history, for example. We get a brief time in school to learn about American history, especially like Oklahoma history, anything like that. Like, we get a brief little time. So we are currently sitting at 49th in education. We are 49th in education, and we have a state superintendent who is pushing the Bible to be learned in school. It's not just a regular Bible; it's the Trump Bible. I know it's not literally called the Trump Bible. It's something else, but it's his whole thing. But yeah, it's just disappointing, and like, it's something that I believe, and I yell about at the top of my lungs whenever I get the chance to, whether it be on Twitter, on Facebook, on my podcast, the Dodgecast. You can listen to that. It comes out every Monday. It's fucking great. But yeah, it's something I take the time to chat about, because like, I currently have two children in the American public education system, and with one on the way. He's 2. He's going to be in the school system in 3 years. So I think our school systems need a major overhaul. Now, I don't necessarily agree with Trump's policy of going after the uh, the public education system, or I don't remember exactly what it's called. Forgive me, but like, there's talks of eliminating that, and I don't like that at all, because I don't think that needs to happen. I think it needs to be overhauled for sure, in order for our kids to get a better education. Now, as far as like higher education, it sucks that it's so fucking hard to get into higher education. I wish like there were free colleges. Like, I know, some of you may not agree with that, but like, it should be way easier for me to go and get a higher education in order to better myself and get better jobs to feed my family. But they make it so fucking hard to do, and it costs so much fucking money to do. So I think from top to bottom, it's fucked, and it sucks, man. Because like, you see, when I was in high school, I saw kids struggling to read basic shit in high school. That's embarrassing. And I felt for those kids, man. Like, it really sucked. Like, people would snicker at them, and I'm like, man, it's got to feel terrible when the teacher calls on you and you're fucking struggling. In high school, in junior year of high school, people are fucking struggling to read. And that's fucking bullshit. Especially, when we're touting ourselves to be the greatest nation on this earth. Fucking bullshit, man. It's fucking bullshit.
Fuck yeah. Do you mind if I jump in?
I was going to, before you do that though. I was going to go to you, Jeff. Can you look up? My computer does a dictation thing, so it's recording. It's like writing all this shit down, and I can't type because every time you guys talk. Can you, while Jeff is talking, can you find me a statistic? What is the average reading level in America? Go ahead, Jeff Kinney.
Jared, dude, I agree with a lot of what you say, dude, like, about public education. It's a fucking joke. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Nevada is literally right below fucking Oklahoma, dude. Like, we have an amazing crisis. And it's like, dude, yeah. And I'm fucking terrified of my kids going to school out here. And I understand what you're saying, dude. Like, I knew kids that were like functionally illiterate. It's like, how are you in the 12th grade if you can't fucking spell fucking cat? Like, I couldn't figure it out. You know, it's like you're just getting passed through these fucking windows or these doors for no reason. And, you know, I think part of the overhaul of the education system, my problem with my beef with the Department of Ed is the Teamsters, or I'm sorry, the unions that have
That's what it's called.
pretty much come in and said, you can't fire us. We're not going fucking anywhere. Doesn't matter I mean, dude, if I looked at this chart about how to fire a teacher in the state of New York, and literally it is almost impossible. We gotta fucking put the school back to the parents. And until we get to that point where it's nothing but bureaucracy, it's never going to fucking change. And we can't get, you know, the town in which the school is in to get their input on what their education should be. It's just going to be the same failure. Oh, dude, we have poured the most money that we spend in this country is on our education. And it's fucking laughable, dude, that we put all this money into this shit. And it's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. It's one of the worst in the fucking world. And like I said, until we get our town. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, real quick. I want to step in.
Yeah,
So
I was just saying, like,
oh, go ahead, Jared.
I was just wanting to say, like, and it kind of sucks because public education, as far as where I am in the tax bracket, is the only fucking choice. I can't afford to send my kids to a private school, and we can't afford to stay home and teach our kids either. Like, we have, you know, a dual income home, like, and that's what we rely on to feed ourselves, to house ourselves, everything. So we are beholding to the Oklahoma public education system. Like, our kids, I love it. I love our schools. Like, I think we have a lot of good teachers. It just sucks about how much, like, they're getting the screws tightened on them.
So real quick, I want to say this because Jared, I'm with you there, but like Norm had told me this. I didn't know the exact thing, but Norm had talked to me about this a while ago. Norm's actually like has his master's in like special education. He's mainly there's a reason me and Norm are close. I was basically retarded in high school, dude. Like Norm's known for helping kids that struggle, but essentially Norm always told me that like if he always felt compelled to get a kid to like a 7th or I think it was actually like a 3rd or a 5th grade reading level because that is all you need to fill out a job application, to read instructions, to not get yourself killed doing a task. But Kent looked it up. The average reading level in America is 7th to 8th grade. So before we get to harping on like, well, why aren't they teaching calculus? I think we have to like be a little honest with ourselves and just realize that like coming from the heart, I love our country. We're dumb as fuck, dude. For the most part, like the average person has a 7th grade reading level in this country. The average person, your average coworker, cannot read above a 7. And we're functioning as a country. We will fuck you in the asshole if you fuck with us, military style. But we're dumb as rocks. I made a post the other day, and I think a lot of women thought I was trying to like talk shit. I see all these podcasts of girls that are like, I want a guy that makes 6 figures and is 6 foot tall. I'm only reading these numbers because I don't think people realize like the world they live in. Oh, and I might have these flipped, but these are accurate. Only like 14% of American men make over $200,000. Only 14%. Everybody else is like down in like the 50, 60. Only 12% of American men are over 6 foot. So the reason I bring that up is you have a billion girls that are like, well, I just want to find a guy that's 6 foot tall and makes $200K a year. It's lady like. Good luck. There's not very many of them, and once you get to him, he's gonna have 30 other chicks that are like, "I'll suck your dick too, dude. Like, just pay my bills." So at the end of the day, like when it comes to the education system, I get it, but at the same time, I don't think that we need to. We're not all winners, bro. And like I do think that our education system is very good at finding winners early on. Does anybody, I know I have a couple of friends, but maybe anybody else. I have a friend who's younger than me, but his freshman year of high school, the state of Oklahoma basically asked his parents, hey, can he come to this private school? He's pretty smart from his testing. He went to live in a dormitory on his sophomore year of high school, and went to like a private school, not because his parents had money, because the state of Oklahoma saw that he was a smart dude. And now he's one of the surgeons. He didn't work that night, but he works in the club that saved a lot of the lives on the Pulse nightclub shooting. He works as a surgeon. He did at that time. He's like a real ass surgeon, and he saves lives. And he's from Keys, Oklahoma, some bumfuck town. And the state of Oklahoma saw in his ninth grade test scores, he's not like the rest of them. He's a little bit smarter. So I want to go to Roud. Are we aiming too high, sitting here thinking like, why aren't we teaching kids this amazing shit? But at the end of the day, if you just look at the facts, are facts. The majority of people are kind of stupid. Go ahead.
That's true. Our society is seem to be dumbing people down and making us stupider and fucking making us care about shit that's really not important when there's other things that could be important. But I mean, if you really think about it, if you really get into it, we get fucking go down that old conspiracy rabbit hole that, some people think that this is all a program. We've been programmed, especially us growing up, that, everything that we went through, we're conditioned and programmed, from the TV shows that we watched to the education that we were given. I mean, this shit was pumped into our brains, and fucking, it's like they kept our eyelids pulled open and fucking fed us this shit. And they have dumbed us down. And maybe that's on purpose, to make the fucking civilians dumber, because if you have a dumber population, then you have less of a issue again when tyranny comes. And you got to fight back. If we're fucking all retarded, then we can't fight together. We're all divided and fighting like we are, and dumb as fuck like we are. They're going to be conquered pretty easily when they fucking come for us. So, my wife's a teacher. They paid teachers dog shit, dude. My wife, the shit she's had to do to get her fucking degree, and fucking even after she gets her degree, she's been teaching for 4 or 5 years now. She still has to, in the state of Ohio, every year she has to be observed. They come and observe her. She has to write a report. It's like she's not even in school anymore, and she's fucking on a salary, and she still has to report to all these people and still do these for like the first 5 years of her teaching career. It's like, and she gets like 30,000 maybe. I didn't even go to college, and I make fucking 2 or 3 times what she makes. It's fucking sad, man. You wonder, it's like, well, I wonder fucking why some of these teachers suck ass. It's because, well, you pay them shit. Fucking, you got a bunch of stupid fucking kids that fucking don't listen, and their attention now is, seconds. They can't, because they have fucking tablets and everything, and YouTube, and TikTok, nobody can watch anything for more than fucking a minute. Maybe it's all that, and it's fucked up.
I'll say this. In no way would I ever diminish what your wife does. In fact, I think they should triple her pay, because this is just me being tough love and honest. I think most teachers are babysitters. When you look at what Kent just sent me, OECD data, roughly half of U.S. adults cannot read a book written at an 8th grade level. We'll be right back after this.
Segment 4, the border crisis. Zillow says America is 4.5 million houses short for our current population. Is anyone on the left looking for a roommate? Hablas español.
For real, you have to break it down like that. I know that people like to virtue signal and be like, just let them all in. Okay. Open up a spare room in your house and let a Mexican or some southern border family move into your house, and don't vet them like a race. Like, for real, you have to think of it as there's not enough houses for Americans. So right now we're asking people there's a part of the population that wants more people to come here, which I do think America's great and everybody should be here, but I think they should have a place to land. We're going to go to Fat Jesus first. What are your thoughts just on the border crisis as a whole? I know that you're a tender guy like me. You want everybody to be happy and be fruitful, but at the end of the day, I don't think you would open up your garage just like I wouldn't. Go ahead, Fat Jesus.
Correct. I would not just open up my garage and just let somebody move in here. I do think something does need to be done. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to answer any questions about a border crisis. I don't know enough to answer any questions about it to have a smart enough opinion on anything about the border crisis. I don't know what the answer is. It's not A wall's not going to do it. They'll either go over it or under it. Who gives a fuck about a wall? It's a waste of money to me. You spend more money on border patrol. What are you going to do? Start shooting them as they're crossing it? And then what are we? Were those people? Were just fucking murdering people as they come across? Oh, but some of them are rapists and some of them, yeah, some of them are, but so are your fucking neighbors. I can pull up a map, go online and pull up the fucking Predator map and see how many red dots are in your goddamn neighborhood. So shut the fuck up. They're bad people everywhere, right? If you want to come here legally. Fucking, I'm all about it, bro. Here's the thing. You just brought up the fact that, we read at the 7th to 8th grade average level, right? None of those motherfuckers, myself included, could pass the fucking test to become American citizen. You put that shit in front of me, I'll fail it. I will fail it 9 times out of 10. I will fail that bitch. I will fail it until you tell me what questions I got wrong so I can memorize which ones I get right to get it right. I'll fail it. I don't know what the answer is. I know we can't just have it open. I know we can't just let people just come on in here.
We're gonna go to our household. We're gonna go to our household Trump faggot, vapid racist Jeff Kenney. What are your thoughts on the border crisis?
Well, see, like I kind of have a nuanced position on this. So, full disclosure, when my parents split up, my mom, she was with Mexican guys, right? Like illegal.
A lot of times, Jeff. I'm sorry that to your face. Go ahead.
That explains a lot.
My mom was with illegal immigrants, right? And here's the thing, man. If you want to come to this country and sorry. If you want to come to this country and work and be part of the country and assimilate, that's the thing. You're going to need to learn the fucking language. Okay. You don't get to just hang out in your neighborhood and speak the same fucking language you came from over and over. You're going to have to assimilate to the society. That's what every immigrant did 100 fucking years ago. They came over fucking on a boat and they became Americans. I want you to wave the American flag, dude. I want you to fucking be an American, and I accept, dude, you want to keep your culture. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, don't come here and shit on us, dude. That's my biggest beef. Don't come here and say America's terrible. Go back fucking home. You know what? If this place is so horrible, dude, what are you doing here? I don't have, like I said, if you want to come here, you want to be an American, you want to pay taxes, dude, more power to you. And the immigration system is fucked up, dude. Like, we got good people that want to come into this country from all over the world. And the backlog, especially in Mexico, that's the biggest problem, dude. The backlog is fucking years, and what I saw from my personal experience is some of these guys, what they do is they come here, they work, they send all the money home. It's a vast part of the guys that are here. They send their money back home. They build a house in Mexico and they go back. They keep their family there. So like, that's my problem. Don't come here and use us and then leave, so maybe that's part of it. I believe in immigration. I believe that, yeah, everyone should share in this great country. But if you're going to come here, be a fucking American. Don't shit on country. Don't talk shit about us. Don't fucking, sit there and burn the American flag. Don't fucking talk about how great your home was. You should love your home, but don't fucking, be an American, dude. Be part of our society. That's my only fucking, prerequisite to that. And there's too many people that come here and yeah, they just use it. They're just fucking thinkers. I'm
sorry to cut you off, Jeff Kenney. We're getting a live feed. We have a Kamala Queef live from Anadarko, Oklahoma. He has issues with you saying "go back home," being a white man, and go ahead, Jared Peterson.
It's just crazy to me that, Jeff, I know I get where you're coming from, but dude, this country was founded on people that didn't speak the language. This country was not founded on speaking English or whatever. And honestly, I've ran into people that don't speak English at restaurants, at supermarkets, anywhere, and it's never been an issue for me. I've always found a way to communicate with people, and it's never been a fucking issue for me. I don't care if they speak the language. I think it's cool that they're proud of where they came from. Sure, they want to come here and get money and send it back home because it's better than getting a shit job from wherever they came from and not earn.
Why is that our problem?
And
why is that my
the
problem?
small amounts that they are sending back, because it's not large amounts.
Real quick,
it's their problem, and now they're trying to fix it. Just like
I want
just like your ancestors did. Your ancestors had a fucking problem from where they came from, and they wanted to come here and fix it, and that's why you're here.
Well, the only thing I want to say is I don't think it's a small amount that they send home, but I don't think southern south of us gets the. There's a lot of Asian cultures that send their wives to America to work, and the husbands stay home, and they send all their money. So it's not just a south of the border thing. America's a great place to send somebody to. Granted, a lot of people are coming in on a work visa, but still, America is like a pretty popular place to send a family member to go work and make money and send it home. Let's go to Rowdy Radloff. What are your thoughts on the contrast of what Jeff said versus what Jared said?
I see both sides of it. I mean, this country was built on immigrants, and I'm sure not everybody talked the same way, and I'm sure not every, you know what I'm saying? Like it started just, I mean, we were called a melting pot for a reason. But I also do agree that if you live in this country, I mean, again, I have no problem with speaking whatever language your primary language is, or, you know, you want to speak 20 different languages, but if the main language is English, you know, it'd be great that, like you said, assimilate. You're just showing that you want to participate in this country. You want to be a part. You're not saying that we're not saying lose who you are or your culture or anything. Keep it. You know, and speak how you want and celebrate and eat the foods you want, whatever. That's what's awesome about this country. But also, if you want to be a part, like he said, wave the flag, fucking show that the reason you're here, you know, have pride in your country. That's what we don't have much of that anymore. We're getting away from that. And I think that's important. But I, you know, always going the scary route and the fucking conspiracy route again. You know, what I worry about is, you know, they're saying all these fucking military age men, these Chinese military age men that are coming in have disappeared. People from fucking Iraq, Afghanistan, fucking all these Middle Eastern countries, they're coming up. They know it's an easy path in. They say that we have tons of fucking sleeper cells and military age men fucking in our country now that have got in the last 4 years, thousands. That, you know, who knows what happens fucking next. You know, we know that they were using balloons and shit to do surveillance on our fucking military bases. Now you're telling me they got all these fucking people in our country just waiting. Like, that's some scary shit, man. We got to do something. Again, I'm too stupid. I don't know the fucking answer, but we can't have that kind of shit because we're gonna be in fucking trouble. We're gonna devour ourselves from fucking. We're gonna eat ourselves alive from the inside.
Let's go to. Real quick, Jared Peterson, and then we'll get out of here. I got a few things before we get out of here, but let's go to Jared Peterson to wrap this up, and then we're going to go to Fat Jesus real quick after Jared Peterson, if he wants to say. Go ahead, Jared.
Just on the talk. So you guys, you're talking about the language and being a participant. Like if they're coming here like legally, and they're paying taxes, they're working, they're participating in America in every other way, except they just don't want to learn the language. Like, it's just not that big of a deal to me, man. It really isn't. I for some reason it doesn't bother me at all. Like, as long as they're doing everything else like correct, I'm just like, dude, speak whatever you want. Like, really, because I think it might even be important for them to teach their kids to like speak it at home, because I know a lot of Spanish speaking people that, you know, they speak to their kids in Spanish at home, and then they, you know, the kids go to school and they participate in the schools, and their parents open up businesses like here in town. Like, you know, the people that own La Poblanita, that sponsor my podcast, like, they don't speak great English, but it's like they've opened up a business, and they've had that business open for, you know, over a decade here, and it's like the language has never been a problem.
Let's go to Fat Jesus real quick.
All right, so I will say this: I do, like Rowd, I do see both sides of this, you know, and Jeff, I do see your points in all of this too. I think, you know, come here legally, that's great. But to Jared's point, the industry that I work in, you know how many people's cars break down and they call me and they're like, my car's broken down, but that's all they can say, you know, and I have to decipher, you know, where they're broken down at. That doesn't, is it annoying? Yeah, sometimes it can be if I'm super busy and I've got 1,000 things going on, but this person's in need, they need help. It's not that big a deal. It's like you said, it's not a deal breaker for me. But yeah, I don't want to live in an America where we don't have like a Chinatown, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Come here, have fun, man. I love the fact that I have been able to grow as a person because of the fact that we have so many different cultures in this country, so many different people. I literally, luckily enough, live in like, a capital city, a big city where I have a 1,000 different restaurants I can go to and experience 1,000 different things in a year. And I can go assimilate myself in any one of the cultures that are around me, and I'm more than welcome to do so. And that's also kind of like a thing of like white privilege too, I feel like I can kind of walk around and do whatever the fuck I want. But it's I don't see a problem with coming here legally. But again, I think one thing we all, as an overture to all of this, we all agree coming here legally is totally cool. Coming here illegally is totally like not cool. I get why you would need to, though. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Yeah.
And I know it's fucking hard to come here. There's people who get work visas and they live here and they work here and their work visas run out and they have to go because they're trying to wait for the other paperwork to come in. And their ears backed up and they can't do it. And they're having to move back and they're waiting now, but they have a family here. And it's just so many nuanced little things. I wish it was so cut and dry, just like close off the border. Everything's great. You know what I mean? But it's just not cut and dry. And there's nobody's going to have a good answer. Any answer that we have for it's going to create problems somewhere else.
All right, well, I'm going to do a Jerry Springer-esque final thought. These are all final thoughts sent from our producer, Kent Fizgig Williams, out of the Garden City area. These are all things that he sent me. And I'm going to kind of just sum up tonight. First of all, when it comes to illegal immigration, there's got to be some sort of, method to the chaos. We have people that are, trying to just, come to this country illegally, and then Jeff's mom's letting them come, and Americans illegally. And I just don't think that's good. I also wanted to sum up everything. None of the racism, none of the election fraud, none of it's real. Rowdy Radloff is going to let us all know that it's actually just activity based on the sussy box that are in the sky. So that's kind of what's been going on there. And as far as I do also see both sides, I think that if you're going to live in this country, you should try to play along. But I think that a lot of the times you have to realize where somebody's aim is from. If you see somebody who's Hispanic and they don't want to assimilate and they don't want to play along, your knee-jerk reaction is to think that, well, maybe this person thinks they're better than me and they don't want to be in my society. But I can tell you firsthand, my grandma Trevino, she never learned English very well. I could tell her anything, and she'd be like, "That's nice. Put in the refrigerator." That's how she spoke to me. Like Jenna said, I spoke very well with her, but she didn't speak English, and she didn't associate with white people. And it wasn't because she thought she was better than them. She knew she wasn't as good as them, and she was embarrassed to be around white people because she felt like less than them. She felt like, I'm some poor lady from nowhere. I don't have any money. I don't have any business being around white people. So some of that inability to assimilate to white culture might have to do with them not feeling like they're good enough to. So there's a lot of things to that. And the last thing I'll say is I do disagree with the whole I think you should learn English if you're going to move here. I think you should also learn other languages. Kent just sent me this. Most other countries, they teach their students like 3 to 4 languages while they have them for that first 12 years. And Americans, as we've learned tonight, still read the book Hatchet and find a deep meaning in it. We'll see you next week.
It's a long